I'm Jana Mohammad Zaki and you're watching Nightline, news making the headlines. Previous government's debt no longer hindrance to us now, says Tun Dr. Mahathir. MACC sued against 41 people and entities to recover 270 million ringgit of 1MDB money. The Prime Minister on Friday said that the government has managed to reduce the debt of more than 1 trillion ringgit left by the previous government to the extent that it is no longer a hindrance now to run the country. Tun Dr. Mahathir Mohamad said the government has succeeded in attracting investments worth 92 billion ringgit. The Prime Minister was speaking at a question and answer session entitled The Future of Malaysia and ASEAN, held in conjunction with the ASEAN Business Summit in Bangkok on Friday. The session was moderated by Bloomberg's Chief International Correspondent for Southeast Asia, Haslinda Amin.
In 1 year's time, it's not easy to accomplish all the things that we have promised. Nevertheless, we have tackled many of the problems. Investment is very good now, with about 92 billion ringgit so far. And I think we have managed the debts incurred by the previous government to the extent that it is no longer a hindrance to our carrying out the administration and development of the country.
As such, the Prime Minister said that the government is on the right track to revive the country.
We get our 10% back, at least.
During the question and answer session, Tun Dr. Mahathir also vowed not to leave Malaysia in shambles when he eventually steps down as Prime Minister. He said it was his intention to continue working hard for the country and resolve the problems at hand.
The last thing I want to do is to go away, leaving the country in shambles like the previous one. So I am working hard for the country to the best of my ability, and hopefully we will be able to make corrections and solve most of the problems we have inherited.
What is the biggest fix for you? What is the one thing you must fix before you step down?
The debt. The debt is too big for the country. We need to reduce the reduction. But if you compare to the GDP, as the GDP grows, the percentage of debt decreases. That is one solution. The other solution is perhaps to sell assets.
To a question, Dr. Mahathir said he would stick to his promise to pass the baton to PKR President Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim. Meanwhile, in his keynote address at a dialogue session with Thai corporate leaders in Bangkok, Tun Dr. Mahathir stressed that Malaysia's economic policy, trade and friendship will remain the same despite the change in government. He also said that Malaysia is streamlining all the rules and regulations in order to facilitate the involvement of foreign countries to invest in Malaysia.
We are business friendly. The government is. Although we have a new government, the policy is still to be business friendly. So when people come to invest in Malaysia, the government will try and help as much as possible. Of course, there are rules, regulations, and laws which have to be complied with, but we are streamlining all these things in order to facilitate investment from foreign countries. So we hope that more Thai companies should come to Malaysia to invest.
The Prime Minister also invited Thai investors to share their skills and knowledge for high-quality investments in Malaysia. Tun Dr. Mahathir also said ASEAN, with a 600 million population, is a big market for trade and all ASEAN member countries should tap its potential. Also present at the dialogue session were Foreign Minister Datuk Saifuddin Abdullah, International Trade and Industry Minister Datuk Darrell Leaking, and Economics Affairs Minister Datuk Sri Muhammad Azmin Ali. Leading the Thai investors was the chairman of the Joint Standing Committee on Commerce, Industry and Banking of Thailand, Kalin Sarasin. The government has made an offer to take over Lingkaran Transkota Holdings Berhad Litrak and 3 other toll concessionaires, all linked to Gamuda Berhad. Based on the filings with Bursa Malaysia by the respective companies on Friday, the 4 highways are likely to be the Damansara Puchong Expressway LDP, the Western KL Traffic Dispersal System Sprint Expressway, the Shah Alam Expressway, Kesas and the Smart Tunnel. Litrak, in a filing with Bursa Malaysia on Friday, said the company has received a 2.47 billion ringgit takeover offer from the government. Litrak is the operator of the Lebuh Raya Damansara Puchong LDP. In the filing, Litrak also said the government has offered to buy its 50% owned associate company System Penyurayan Traffic KL Barat Holdings Sendiran Berhad Sprint for 1.984 billion ringgit. Separately, Gamuda also said that its highway concession companies have also received takeover offers from the government. Gamuda owns a 44% stake in Litrak, a 52% stake in Sprint, a 70% stake in Kesas, and a 50% stake in Smart. The offer could signal Putrajaya's first step towards lowering toll charges. The each government had pledged to abolish toll charges in stages in its GE14 election manifesto. The Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC has filed civil forfeiture suits against 41 individuals and entities to recover some 270 million ringgit that is related to One Malaysia Development Berhad 1MDB, which was transferred from former Prime Minister Datuk Sri Muhammad Najib Tun Razak's bank account. According to its new Chief Commissioner, Latifah Koya, it is the biggest civil forfeiture ever filed so far. The suit was filed at the Kuala Lumpur High Court on Wednesday under the Anti-Money Laundering, Anti-Terrorism Financing and Proceeds of Unlawful Activities Act, AMLA. The 41 respondents comprise political parties, foundations and companies, including several UMNO state liaisons and divisions, which were the biggest recipients of the disbursed money as it received a total of 212 million ringgit. Also in the list were Parti Rakyat Bersatu Sabah, MCA, and a Muslim NGO, Pertubuhan Kebajikan dan Dakwah Islamiah Malaysia, PEC KIDA.
If you get dirty money, then we will go for you. So that's the issue. So the responsibility on those who have received the money. In the case of AMLA, it's always the responsibility if you suddenly receive about 100,000, 200,000, 500 million, you can't give a defense of being shocked or surprised and not take steps to find out and verify.
Latifah said since the investigation into the 1MDB scandal commenced, MACC has taken various efforts to recover the money and has so far retrieved 919 million ringgit, which were returned voluntarily. These include cash and properties from overseas. Meanwhile, acting UMNO President Datuk Sri Muhammad Hassan said that those in charge of the party liaisons and divisions named in the civil forfeiture lists will have to make their own agreement in court why the money should not be forfeited. He added that UMNO will fight MACC in court to get back party funds at the national levels that have been forfeited by MACC. As for the money UMNO received from 1MDB at the national level, he stated that it has all been used up. Local distributor of Chevrolet cars, Naza Quest Auto Sendiran Berhad, also clarified that some 270,000 ringgit it received was for the purchase of 4 cars between 2012 and 2013. The company said the Naza Group will cooperate with the authorities to provide necessary assistance in relation to the matter. Meanwhile, another company included in the list, jewellery franchise Habib Jewels Sindiran Berhad, said all of its transactions were in good faith and are supported by legitimate documentation. The company, however, said it had not served any notice by the anti-graft agency. The prosecution team in Datuk Seri Muhammad Najib Tun Razak's 1MDB cases on Friday requested for another postponement of the trial, which have earlier been fixed by the High Court. Attorney General Tommy Thomas told Judge Colin Lawrence Sequeira that there is a possibility Datuk Seri Najib's SRC International Sindiran Berhad trial would not be completed by August 15th. This is the third time the prosecution team asked for postponement, as the prosecution wanted to give way to Datuk Seri Najib's SRC trial to finish first. Justice Sequeira had earlier said August 19 to 29 throughout September and October except for Fridays, and the first 2 weeks in November for Datuk Seri Najib's 1MDB trial. Justice Sequeira then set July 15 for another case management for the parties to update the status of SRC trial before he decides the matter. Datuk Seri Najib is facing 4 counts under the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission MACC Act and 21 counts of money laundering involving 1MDB funds amounting to 2.28 billion ringgit. The former Prime Minister also faces 3 counts of criminal breach of trust, 1 charge of power abuse and 3 counts of money laundering involving SRC International Sindiran Berhad funds totaling 42 million ringgit. Johor Health, Culture and Heritage Exco Muhammad Khuzan Abu Bakar said the investigation team headed by the Department of Environment DOE has yet to find any specific causes of the gas leak in Pasir Gudang and investigations were still ongoing. Khuzan also said the Johor State Government has opened an operations room to monitor the quality of air flow following the gas leak, which resulted in 29 victims being rushed to the Sultan Ismail Hospital, HSI, on Thursday. Speaking at a media conference on Friday, Khuzan said although the air quality index recorded was 0, monitoring was still ongoing. He said the monitoring is done regularly every 4 hours by the HAZMAT and DOE teams, and any changes to the air quality will be notified to the residents.
Sehingga kini, siasatan yang dibuat oleh pihak JAS mendapati tiada punca spesifik yang menyebabkan masalah gangguan kesihatan tersebut. Siasatan awal JAS juga mengesahkan tiada sebarang kejadian pembuangan atau pelupusan haram buangan terjadual. Pihak JAS akan memaklumkan dari masa ke semasa perkembangan siasatan yang dijalankan.
For the record, the Taman Mawar Religious Primary School SRA is only about 6 kilometers from the Kim Kim River, which was polluted by toxic waste in March, causing 111 schools to be closed and 5,000 people affected. Malaysia Airlines MAS has issued a statement saying it is avoiding the conflict airspace over the Straits of Hormuz for its flight to and from London, Jeddah and Medina. MAS said it was closely monitoring the situation and it is guided by various assessments, including security reports and notice to airmen NOTAMs by respective airspace control authorities. The airspace over the Persian Gulf has become a tense conflict zone after Iran shot down an American drone with a surface-to-air missile. Other airlines such as Qantas, Singapore Airlines and US carriers has also followed suit in avoiding the Persian Gulf airspace. In Perak, the owner of an entertainment outlet was charged on Friday in the Taiping Magistrates Court with hiring foreign workers without permits and allowing underage patrons into the premises. The accused, Ng Meng Kwan, aged 42, pleaded not guilty to the first charge but pleaded guilty to the second charge when it was read before Magistrate Muhammad Hairul. The court granted bail of 10,000 ringgit in one shorty for the first charge and fixed July 22nd for mention of the case while for the second charge, she was fined 2,000 ringgit or 4 months jail in default. In Kuala Lumpur, air conditioner repairman has been sentenced to 18 years in jail and 5 strokes of the cane by the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court for robbing and intentional causing hurt to a bank manager in the Taman Mutiara Cheras MRT elevator last February. G. Thinathayalan was accused of robbing and assaulting Lee Mei Shan, 48, and also stealing personal documents, ATM and credit cards and cash worth 400 ringgit. Judge Mayun Talib passed the sentence after the court was satisfied the prosecution had successfully proven its case beyond a reasonable doubt. Over in Negeri Sembilan, 3 individuals were remanded for 4 days at the Port Dickson Magistrates Court on Friday to assist police investigation into a methanol poisoning case. According to Port Dickson District Police Chief Superintendent ID Sham Muhammad, the trio were a mother and her son and a female trader were picked up by police a day earlier. So far, 2 people have died due to the poisoning, while 2 of 3 other victims are still receiving treatment. The case is being investigated under the Penal Code. In Selangor, the Petaling Jaya Magistrates Court has ordered actor and film director Datuk Farid Kamil Zahari to enter his defence for 4 charges, including slapping a police officer in January last year. Magistrate Nur Arifin Hisham ruled on Friday that the prosecution had proven a prima facie case against Datuk Farid. The court set 17 and 18 July for the defence to be heard. Coming up next, Nightline's auto segment with Wan Izul Islam. Don't go away. Welcome back. Drivers can now gain superior driving skills from advanced training sessions on professional racing circuits to help build confidence and optimize their knowledge behind the wheel. Under the guidance of fully certified experts, BMW Malaysia offers customers the opportunity to help master the challenges of everyday driving and how to steer clear of any unexpected dangers. Wan Izul Islam finds out more.
The advanced training module held at the Sepang International Circuit includes a multitude of thrilling exercises executed in a controlled environment. The exercises were designed to sharpen specific driving skills in order to have total control of the vehicle in any situation. Practical exercises will teach drivers the right seating posture, along with precise, swift steering, as well as how to overcome potential hazards at speeds between 50 to 60 kilometers per hour. For this exercise, we will be practicing understeering and oversteering. That's when you take very sharp corners and try to control your vehicle after taking that corner. Going at 40 kilometers per hour, and I'm going to take this turn at 40. And there we go. Now we're going to turn up the speed to 50 kilometers per hour and try our best to maintain stability and control of the car while taking that very sharp turn. Okay, for the next exercise that we're about to do for the BMW driving experience is to change lanes at a limited or a set speed. So we're going to be going at 60 kilometers per hour right now, and we have to avoid an obstacle in front of us by changing lanes without pressing on the brake. Alright, so now the next exercise is lane changing at a very high speed. So I'm going 60 kilometers per hour right now, and I have to lane change to the right. I think I hit the cone. The line braking exercise where you drive in a straight line forward at the desired speed or the limited speed, and you press hard on the brake to allow for the ABS, the anti-lock brake system to take place on this car. Now, right now we're going at 80 kilometers per hour, and we're going to, and we have to lift our hands up once we reach the destination or the braking gate. All right, let's see how this goes. Kilometers per hour, and very good. Wow. Internationally trained instructors with motorsport experience will help guide drivers throughout the BMW driver training and will provide both theory and practical examinations. Each driver at the end of the training will be able to put their skills to the test in the Slalom Time Attack Challenge, driving the BMW 330i M Sports Series.
What we have done today basically is allowing them to learn all the defensive driving skill in terms of applying emergency brake, in terms of avoiding obstacles, right? In terms of handling the car in the right way, so that this will reduce the rate of accidents and enhance their knowledge in terms of handling these cars.
We learn the very basic safety about driving that we don't learn in the typical driving school. Right? Like what does it mean by understeer and how do you overcome it, and what does it mean by oversteer and how do you overcome it. But actually this is the typical danger that we face in our day-to-day route, but we are not aware of it.
All drivers at the end of the session will receive an official certificate of achievement signed by the instructors. One is Islam for Nightline's auto segment, TV3.
At least 30 killed in blaze at matchstick factory in Indonesia. Details after this break. Welcome back. On to the foreign front. European Union leaders are unanimous that the new British Prime Minister will not be able to renegotiate the Brexit withdrawal agreement. According to its Council President Donald Tusk on Friday, this also includes the arrangements to remove the Irish backstop or change the financial settlement.
We look forward to working together with the next UK Prime Minister. We want to avoid a disorderly Brexit and establish a future relationship that is as close as possible with the UK. We are open for talks when it comes to the declaration on the future UK-EU relations if the position of the United Kingdom were to evolve. But the withdrawal agreement is not open for renegotiation.
Tusk said this to reporters after a summit of EU leaders in Brussels, Belgium. He added that the EU was ready to rewrite the other part of Theresa May's Brexit deal, a non-binding declaration on future relations, should the UK's own red lines in the talks change. In Indonesia, the death toll from the fire that razed a house that doubled as a match factory in the North Sumatra city of Binjai on Friday has risen to at least 30 people. According to head of Langkat Disaster Mitigation Agency, Irwan Shahri, 3 children were believed to be among the dead. He said the fire erupted at around 11:30 a.m. local time in the makeshift factory located in the residential compound, about 70 kilometers west of provincial capital Medan. It is understood that many of the victims were burned beyond recognition. All of those affected by the fire have been transferred to Ilham and Bayangkara hospitals in Binjai. The cause of the fire is still under investigation. Action from the 2019 Copa America. Stay tuned. Sports football, the 2019 Copa America. Uruguay blew their chance to book a slot in the quarterfinals as they twice came from behind to muster a 2-2 draw with Japan in their Group C clash on Friday. Koji Miyoshi gave Japan the lead in the 25th minute with a confident finish following a counter-attack, before Uruguay striker Luis Suarez levelled 7 minutes later from the penalty spot after a controversial decision following a VAR review. Miyoshi then completed his brace in the 59th minute to restore the lead for the Blue Samurai. But the 15th Copa America champions equalised again 7 minutes later through a header by Jose Jimenez. Both teams then pushed on for the winning goal in the remaining period, but the score remained 2-2 till the full-time whistle. The draw means Japan have a slim chance of reaching the quarterfinals from Group C with one game remaining against Ecuador. We've reached the end of Nightline this time around. Chinese President Xi Jinping, who is making the first trip by a Chinese head of state to North Korea in 14 years, was treated to a special performance of the spectacular mass games by his host Kim Jong-un. Take a look at the visuals of the event while we wrap up. With that, I'm Jana Mohammad Zaki. Thank you for tuning in.